Thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. My name is Ude James Uchechukwu, your favorite public servant. I am a bureaucrat, I am a social analyst, I am a research and development enthusiast, I am a civil advocate, and particularly an advocate of the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. So I preach everything as it contained in the Sustainable Development Goals agenda. That is Agenda 2030. And as a civil advocate, it is paramount and pivotal for me to lend my voice to the issue of government responses to the COVID-19 in Nigeria, especially as it affects university education in the country. Yes, I mention university because I represent the university, and I'm going to be dwelling much more on how the COVID-19 and the government responses affect university education in the country. First of all, I would say that the coronavirus has affected a lot of things. It has affected the way we live our lives. It has affected the way we interact. It has affected the way we play. Social life has been deeply affected. And human being, from what we know, is a social-relational animal. So it's a difficult one having to adjust from our social-relational, means of living the life to an isolated kind of life. So it's difficult. At the beginning of the pandemic, I was like, wow, how am I going to, a social walkabout like me, how am I going to do it? How will I be able to discipline myself enough to stay put in my house? Yes, there are times even before the pandemic that I don't feel like going out for days and all of that. I will remain in my house and do a lot of work. But it is a different ball game when you know that you are not just taking a personal decision, it's like going to be a routine, like a normal way of living. So, but as time went by, I tried as much as I could or I can to adjust, and I think I'm loving it now because it also gave me time to have deep reflection in my own person, and it made a lot of it also gave me opportunity to make a lot of changes in the way I live my life, and even it gave me opportunities that's giving me opportunities to take more responsibility about my personal life and all of that. So a lot of advantages anyway, but then it is more or less like a misnomer for people to live a different kind of life within a short time, as in nobody, you never planned for it and it just hits you like that. So it's difficult. And at the beginning of this whole pandemic issue, government came up with shutting down, lockdown, and all of that, because a lot of governments of the world adopted that measure. And when it hit Nigeria at the very beginning, we also had to adjust or adapt those measures. Yes, very fine, they are fantastic. But the only place or the areas where we failed woefully as a country, I'm making reference to Nigeria now, is the aspect of what we are doing while we are on lockdown. So many countries of the world, the United States of America, the Republic of China, Italy, United Kingdom, when they shut down, they use the period of lockdown to do what? To put basic health interventions on ground. They use the period of lockdown to ensure that all protocols are being put in place. They use the period of lockdown to conscientize their people. They use the period of lockdown to make sure that they educate the people, that they do what they need to do towards adjusting and adapting to the new normal. But in Nigerian case, the reverse is the case. We only ask people to go home, and that's it. The other one, you see presidents come on board once in a blue moon to come and address us on issues he's not even knowledgeable enough about. you know. It's worrisome. So what am I saying in effect? Government response to COVID-19 is been very poor. I rate it very poor, ranging from the inability of the same government to provide palliatives to the insincerity and the inconsistency of the same government. At the beginning of this whole pandemic, you would hear different directives. Today you hear the same government say, okay, market should open. Another time you hear the same government say, okay, churches should open, markets should close, and all of that. A lot of mix-ups and all that, which is not supposed to be, you know. So back to the government responses, the university education and all of that, which is the major topic of discussion for this particular video. I would say that government has failed woefully, and they have not been open. Government has not been transparent enough. Government has not been humble enough. Government has not been aggressive enough to be able to contain the spread of the coronavirus, and towards ensuring that we are able to contain the second wave of the spread of the coronavirus, which is likely to occur by the time the whole economy is opened up and we have another mixtures and all of that. Government is not putting any health intervention in place. Government is not putting any protocol in place. I am not seeing any serious, work being done in our public sectors and all of that. And we are talking about reopening the economy. We are talking about reopening schools. And we have something deadly out there. Because government attitude over time, have caused people to live in denial of the existence of the coronavirus pandemic. But personally, I do know that there is coronavirus out there, and I encourage everyone to know and to believe that there is coronavirus out there and take personal responsibility. As it has to do with university education, if I am the Minister of Education, I will advise the federal government to hold on reopening schools. The reason being that we've spent a chunk of the time on lockdown without doing nothing. So, when a particular shrine in my place will always say that if my people could start from this day to do what they have to do, that him will start from this same exact day to start protecting them and living up to his own expectation, his own billings as the god of the land. So even though we've wasted a chunk of our time doing nothing, now is not the best time to say reopen school. There's pressure on us to reopen school and all of that. No, our major priority now, like if I am the Minister of Education, I would advise government now to place more emphasis on putting all the health interventions, all the protocols in place in all of our public institutions, especially for the fact that the academic calendar of universities have already been largely affected. And if that is the case, I see no reason why we should be in a rush to reopen schools. For me, allow the students, allow the major stakeholders in the university system, for instance now, to exhaust the whole academic calendar at home, but not just to stay at home. A lot of people need to be working remotely. I don't think that people are also doing that in some universities. People are just relaxing, waiting on government to say reopen school so day and all of that. But then we don't need to be in a rush to reopen schools, having spent this chunk of time in vain. What should be the priority of government at this particular time is to ensure that all basic interventions are put in place in all of our institutions. decontaminating all of our institutions, then replanning the academic calendar. And most so, what has happened now is natural. Nobody expected it. It is a contingent stuff, you understand? So now we never expected it. Because we never expected it, and the whole world, have also been affected by it. What we need to do is we count it loss. You count it a loss, the number of months, and all of that. Then plan and reprogram the university calendar and activities. When we allow people to exhaust the current academic session at home, and we use it to put all the protocols in place, then towards adjusting to the new normal by the time school reopens by October. That is to say, school should wait until October to reopen. In that case, everyone would have lost one full current calendar year, academic calendar year. Then everyone is starting all afresh by October on a clean slate. If you were in third year by the time the pandemic started, you repeat the third year. If you were in final year, you repeat the final year. If you were in first year, you repeat the first year. You understand? It will not stop us from admitting students. We can admit fresh students and join them with the current year one, and we merge the two of them together, all do year one at the same time. It is a contingent approach that we have to adopt, and not to rush to open schools. So I want to encourage government through this medium, first of all, to be open, to be humble enough to be transparent, and to be aggressive. Do what they can. Then on individual basis, we need to take responsibility, because when government says everybody should wear mask, government is not going to get mask and put on you. Or even when government gives mask, they are not going to be the one to come and put it on you. Wear your mask when you are going out, and don't go out if you don't have any reason to go out, and all that. So it is my belief that government will do what they have to do, and individuals will also have to do what they have to do to make sure that we contain, especially the second wave of the spread of the coronavirus. God will help us. God will see us through, in Jesus' name.